Hello, friends. Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. May I be the first to say a good afternoon to you and yours. It is 12:04, almost 12:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and everywhere else in the Central Time Zone. Today is Friday, March 29, 2024. It's always a good Friday. Today is particularly Good Friday, as it is the Friday before Easter. And happy Easter to all of you. I hope you celebrate with family and friends the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So very important to so many of us. Still so very important to so many of us. It's episode 450, or 542. 500, I transposed. 542 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, at least our portion of the broadcast day. We appreciate you listening on the radio, listening online. As you stream news, music, and information, stream us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Just download us and take us wherever you go. You can download our app. We're also on the television side of things. Behind the glass, Bell K resides. We call him Headless Bell on the television side of things because he refuses to participate in the TV side on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. But the TV side is up and running. Episode 542 is entitled
Matt Murphy. He's a good egg, just a little cracked.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's also true.
A little thematic, trying to stick with the holiday.
I had to take the hat off. Thank you. And thank you. Also, Friday Mac Attack's coming up later on today.
Friday?
Friday's here today, too. Jay's going to help us out with the Tennessee law on recording conversations. More on that story coming up.
Hey,
the possibility exists that...
Do they have a similar law in Georgia? Alabama?
Yeah, I think Alabama's a one-party record state, yeah.
Okay, so he's probably pretty familiar with the whole aspect.
Oh, yeah. No, he'll prep himself up. But, yes, we will discuss, because the possibility exists that Phil Williams of News Channel 5, in a big nothing burger story, broke the law. Or at least someone along the lines broke the law.
Dude, come on. The law didn't apply to him.
Well, apparently not. Apparently that's what he says. And over at the Tennessee Star, Michael Patrick Leahy is on top of this story, and he and I have been communicating about it, and I'll share some more of it with you coming up a little bit later on in the broadcast. Mentioning the 1 o'clock hour, that is our Friday hour with our good friend, legal correspondent, life consultant, and gambling buddy Jay St. Clair. He is on at 1:05 this afternoon, answering any and all of your legal questions. If you have them, get them in on the Members Nutrition Super Text line. Members Nutrition Super Text line is up and running. I categorize those. Put your questions for Jay off in a folder somewhere, and then we present those to Jay St. Clair in the second half of our Friday edition. Then in the 2 o'clock hour, it's another edition of Friday Mac Attack with the one and only Cougar Chow, who told me that he wanted to, I'm not one to horn into his business. But I said, what's the topic today? Bell and I just want to know, 5 minutes beforehand, to try to figure out where we are in terms of our draft order. For those of you who have heard the segment, you understand what I'm saying.
Well, he and I had talked before you even got here, and he told me his suggestion, and I thought it was great.
Did he tell you what my suggestion was?
Yeah, I didn't like it so much.
You don't like my suggestion? I can be overruled.
I liked his much better.
Okay. Wait, let me ask you a completely unrelated question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like eggs?
Yeah.
Okay, did he tell you my idea?
Uh-huh.
My legit idea?
Yeah. I
thought it was kind of thematic.
Yeah. We got that in the title. We don't need it.
I see. Well, that's fine. We could go back to his. I'm good with that. That's cool. And for those of you who want to know what the hell we're talking about or what the subject matters are, I guess you'll have to listen at 2 o'clock this afternoon. That's called A Professional Tease by a talk show host who knows what he's doing on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And I don't know what that guy's name is, but my name is Matt Murphy, and I'm glad you're here. I attended, by the way, before I forget about it, I want to say this. I attended an event last evening up in Gallatin. It was one that you've been hearing about on the radio station. I don't endorse candidates. I've never endorsed candidates. I don't really believe in it. And we could get into the reasons why I don't believe in it at another time, or if you want to call me, it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. After all, you're invited to ask, and I am happy to answer. It's a lengthy conversation that I'm not willing to get into right now. That said, I've never endorsed. Although I have met Chris Spencer, who's running for state senate up there in that region of the world. And I like the guy. I've never had the opportunity to meet Farrell Hale, although he has been invited to make an appearance on the Matt Murphy Show, and maybe he will. So my presence at the Spencer event is not necessarily an endorsement, although I think Chris Spencer would make a fine state senator from what I've known of him and what I see of him and the manner in which he comports himself as a conservative. John Rich was there. A number of other dignitaries were there to kick off his state Senate campaign. And I was asked to go. I was just invited to go, and I was happy to swing in. And I'm so glad I did. Not only because I saw so many people that I've gotten to know over my years in Nashville at SuperTalk 99.7 WTN, and so many of you were so gracious to come up to me and say hello and thank you. But I also got to see a woman by the name of Miss Gwyn. Ms. Gwyn is 97 years old, and she is a veteran of World War II. What is known as the Greatest Generation. I began covering the honor flights out of Alabama 20 years ago. Do you know about honor flights?
I do not.
It took a long time to get a World War II memorial to honor those who fought, sacrificed, and in some cases died in that theater, both theaters, the Pacific and the European theaters, in that conflict. It took a long time to get a World War II memorial. The World War II memorial actually came long after the Vietnam War memorial or the Korean War memorial, for whatever reason. I suppose the Vietnam War memorial came about in the manner that it did because of the shameful way the United States of America, not everyone, but many in the United States of America, treated the men that came back from that battle, that conflict. But it took a long time for the World War II memorial to get up and running, and eventually it did. It's on the National Mall. It is very poignant. It is very well done. And if you get an opportunity to go see it, I strongly encourage you to do so. Honor flights happened in Alabama, and I would be willing to bet you that they happen in every state in the United States of America, including the state of Tennessee. And many of you on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, I don't have it quite up yet. I'm running a little bit late, but once I do, I am certain that many of you are alerting me to the fact that there was. I am as certain as I sit here that there were honor flights in the state of Tennessee. What are honor flights? These were organizations that were put together to raise money for the purpose of getting World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the World War II memorial. And these individuals in this organization, they're all like 501c3s. They would put together the money, and they would get these folks to the airport. They would get them on the airplane. They would book them the rooms. They would utilize volunteers in an effort to get many of these individuals who were very old at the time or older at the time. Some of them had an inability to walk. Maybe they're in wheelchairs, but they would get them there, and they would honor the men and women. There were much fewer women, obviously, at that time, but honor the women who were the greatest generation. And I remember Pam Nichols was the woman that organized and orchestrated honor flights in Alabama. And I was honored myself to be an itty-bitty, teeny-tiny part in encouraging people. We would have Pam on with a fair amount of regularity, and she would have new flights going out. This is years and years ago. And she would come on and encourage people, and I would encourage people to get their parents or their grandparents or, whatever it might be to Washington, D.C. to see the memorial there for them. And I get a little bit emotional because I remember this like it was yesterday, and I don't mean to get too emotional on this Good Friday, but I can't help myself because I remember it as I sit here. Pam Nichols calls me and she says, hey, we've got a final flight going out, on so-and-so and such day. Just let me know if you can, make an announcement about it or have me on. And, of course, we did have her on. And I said to her on the phone, Pam, why in the world, why is this the final flight? And she said, because they're all gone, Matt. They're all gone. Everyone still here has been, or we have lost them. And I cried. I don't know why necessarily. It's the guarantee that we have from the time of our birth that there will be a time of our passing. But with their passing passes the greatest generation, truly, American heroes that collectively, potentially saved the world from oppression. Certainly Europe, and maybe even beyond. And so last night I was thinking about Honor Flight when Ms. Gwyn was introduced. She is 97 years of age, as I mentioned. I think I have this right. I did not write it down. This is all from memory from last evening. She served in the United States Navy. Obviously, women did not serve on the front, but she served in a capacity where she built machine parts for aircraft here at home. But she was in civil service, but she was a part of the military. I may be getting it. Forgive me. Don't pick nits on that. I'm just doing that from memory, but I think that's right. That she was in civil service, which placed her under the military operation in the theater of war from the United States Navy. But she was specifically making parts for aircraft, and she is feisty. I'll play a little clip. I think John Rich put together a clip of her. He was interviewing her last night. It just reminds me of how wonderful the people of the United States of America have been and still are. It reminds me of how good people are. It reminds me that people's hearts not only are in the right place, but they put action behind what they believe in. And I choose not to believe that we've lost that. I choose to not believe that we are not that same country. Tony writes in and says on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, and he's exactly right. Charlie Daniels said it over and over and over again. There are two things that keep us free, and that is God Almighty and the United States military, and we honor both of those every day, and especially this weekend. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Ms. Glenn. I'll find the clip and I'll pull up the clip for you. But it was such an honor to be in the same room with her, and we're losing those folks every day. I remember, I'm 50 years old, guys. I remember when I was a kid watching as the last of our World War I veterans died in the 1990s. Those folks were in their 90s at the time, and now we have precious few World War II veterans left. And I pray that we never forget them. And I pray that we never forget the cause they fought for. And I pray that we never find ourselves in a situation where we don't answer the call. I pray that we always have the willingness and the fire in our bellies to understand the threats that are around us. That doesn't mean, jumping into every foreign entanglement known to man, including the one in Ukraine. I think you know what it means. It means that some things are worth dying for. Certainly some things are worth sacrificing for. And we need to be ready, because there is nobody behind us. Most every other nation that believes in freedom and liberty, certainly, they have the ability to say, you know what, when the poop goes down, when all is tangled and matted and is as dark as we think that it can get, you look behind your shoulder and there's the United States of America, ready, willing, and able to help you in a cause for freedom and for liberty. If the United States of America ever has to look over our shoulder, we will see no one. Or nothing. And I pray we never get there. Anyway, just wanted to tell you about the honor flights. Some of you are calling in. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday after all. We would love to do that. Donald Trump was in New York City honoring one of New York's finest. We'll talk about that while Joe Biden was hobnobbing with the rich and elite. I have an update on Riley Strain today. We're going to talk about that. I have an update on the cargo ship. We will discuss that. It's all on the table. Friday's on the table. Friday Mac Attack's on the table. And you on the phone, 615-737-9986. It's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Super Talk. It's 12:25. Oh, it's also Friday. Good Friday. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being around with us on this Good Friday. We certainly appreciate you. Whatever time you're able to give us, we find it special until 3 o'clock when we hand off to the drive with Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Information fueled and opinion driven. Did you, and by the way, Anthony, that's not Bell. That's all me, man. It might be a bad song, but it is a great listen because you know that the weekend is upon us when you hear it. 4200 says that damn Friday song. One of these days, Alice. Pal, right in the kisser. Did you see, Bell, the Wall Street Journal today? I suppose that's a no. Bell's busy talking. Anybody see the Wall Street Journal today? I'll tell you, it's pretty striking what they did on their front headline, their front page. And if you don't know, you need to know. If you do know, you should look it up. In the meantime, Maria's in Franklin with a conversation about honor flights. We were talking about honor flights in the spirit of Ms. Gwyn, whom I had the honor of meeting last night, 97 years of age. Hey, Maria, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Matt? Love your show.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention I've had the opportunity to be at Reagan National several times waiting for a flight at the gate when those honor flights come in, and it is so emotional.
Oh, no question. I've had the pleasure of being at the Birmingham airport when one comes in, and I've had the honor of talking to a number of people that took them. This is like 10 or 15 or maybe even 20 years ago now, and it is an absolute joy to watch.
It is. There's not a dry eye in the area when they come through.
Well, and I'll tell you, there's not a dry eye when I tell folks this, too, but there aren't a lot of them that are happening anymore because most folks who are still with us have already been or they're not with us anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I just wanted to let you know I've seen that, too, and it's just amazing. It's amazing.
It is. Maria, thank you so much for the call, and thank you for that. I mean, if you had the opportunity, I mean, if you were there in that zone of time when there were some of them going out in Tennessee or some of them going out in a variety of different places, wherever you might be, it was a pretty special time. You don't see a lot of that anymore because the greatest generation, sadly, we have lost a good portion of them. But it is something to see. It's something to remember. And, yeah, obviously, we honor all of those who have served in our United States military, not just World War II, but, of course, Korea and Vietnam and some of the other more modern conflicts, the Gulf War I, Gulf War II, et cetera, Afghanistan and the like. I mean, all of our service members deserve such utmost respect from us because many of them sacrificed a lot, and some of them sacrificed everything. 1228, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Speaking of sacrifice, Donald Trump was in New York City yesterday. I don't think you could have found a greater juxtaposition between two presidential candidates making a decision to travel to the same city for very, very different reasons. Donald Trump had a strong message to send to Joe Biden, not just to Joe Biden, but Barack Obama. Not just to Barack Obama, but Bill Clinton. Former President Trump slammed Biden during an interview with Fox and Friends and Brian Kilmeade, arguing that Joe Biden missed a very sad moment when he went to a fundraiser in the Big Apple instead of mourning a slain New York City police officer, Jonathan Diller. Trump telling Kilmeade they missed a very sad moment for our country, but it's a moment that they have to be a part of whether they like it or not. They can't skip this moment. I've never seen so many police. I've never seen so many firemen. They view it in a very similar way, and I understand that, but they're going to have to get involved a little bit because this country is going to hell. Our country is not respected anymore, he said. I say it in my rallies, in my speeches, we're a nation in decline, totally fixable, but we have to do it fast. Biden was in town but chose to ignore the funeral services in lieu of a Radio City Music Hall function attended by former President Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. All the A-list celebrities were out en masse. Lizzo was there. Stephen Colbert was there. Oh, a lot of the Democrat Party elites were there. They raised $25 million. $25 million in one single event. That's quite special. I don't think you can put a price tag on what Joe Biden didn't do. I don't think you can put a price tag on what Donald Trump chose to do. The mainstream media wants you to pretend that Donald Trump is an ogre. And you know what? If you were to ask me if Donald Trump was a narcissist, I would tell you that, yes, he is. I think that anyone that runs for president of the United States has to have a certain level of ego that would rise to the level of perhaps narcissism. But I'll say this. Every person that you talk to that has actually met Donald Trump, I was talking to John Rich last night. Every single person that you speak with that has actually met Donald Trump, they tell you that he treats the kitchen worker, the waiter or waitress, he treats the construction worker, than he ever treats anybody in a boardroom. For reasons that I think are pretty obvious. He has great respect for those people. Oh, the media want to pretend otherwise. I promise you this, Joe Biden, well, I think what happened yesterday says it all. Just think of the optics. There's Joe Biden at a whatever, I bet it was a $50,000 a plate dinner, if not more. Raising $25 million. He has to bring in Barack Obama and Bill Clinton to get it done. Although there were many protesters protesting Joe Biden. They're calling him Genocide Joe. And in the meantime, Donald Trump, I'm sure he could have raised money yesterday too, but he chose to go to a funeral. Trevor says $100,000 a plate. Doesn't surprise me. 615-737-9986. Is anyone else concerned that there's more to this Riley Strange story than we originally anticipated? Have you heard the latest? I'll tell you if you've not. It's 12:32 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Safe House is located right on 4th Avenue South. The Nashville Safe House does one thing really, really well. They sell safes and vault doors. Well, and they have storm shelters as well. But any size of safe that you can imagine for any purpose that you can imagine, whether it's paperwork, jewelry, guns, they have gun safes galore. They have corporate safes as well. They have those vault doors that I mentioned. Anything at any price point that you're looking for, they've got it at Nashville Safe House. They also have rebates. It's rebate season at Nashville Safe House, whether it's Browning or any of the other brands that they carry, and they carry just about every brand known to man. And they have more safes than you can possibly imagine. I mean, if you wanted one different safe every day, I think it would take you 2 years to go through every safe if you looked at one every day. That's how many they have in stock at Nashville Safe House. They have the right one for you. I would encourage you to buy a little bigger than you think you need. Plus, don't forget about the sales tax free nature of gun safes in the state of Tennessee. That's pretty nice. No sales tax on gun safes at the Nashville Safe House. Go see Mark and his team at Nashville Safe House. They're on 4th Avenue South. Better yet, go online and check it out and do some preliminary shopping before you stop by. NashvilleSafeHouse.com. That's NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you. First Amendment Freestyle Friday continues. Happy to have you with us. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative. 615-737-9986. Fry J on the way in the 1 o'clock hour. Friday Mac Attack in the 2 o'clock hour. And plenty to come between now and then. I mentioned Donald Trump in New York City. One person has asked, and I guess they were coming in midstream. They want to know about honor flight. Saying, hey, what is an 5900 writes in on the Members Nutrition Super Text line. What is an honor flight? I'm 68 years old, and I've never heard of this. You don't hear about a lot of them anymore because we don't really need them anymore. After the World War II memorial in Washington, D.C., let me look this up. Bell, fact check me on this while I'm talking. When did the World War II memorial open? I want to say it was in the mid-1990s. It might have been in the mid-2000s. I don't really know. Bell K will check it out for us. So,
April 29th, 2004.
2004. After the opening of the World War II memorial, the recognition existed that many of our World War II veterans were of an age and an infirmity where they could not get there on their own, or perhaps they had financial limitations that prevented them from getting there on their own. And honor flights were created all across the United States of America. I was familiar with the Honor Flight Birmingham, Alabama chapter. I don't know if they were. I'm thinking they were called honor flights because many of you were telling me that on Super Talk 99.7 WTN that years ago Ralph Bristol was a part of the Honor Flight organization or promoted the Honor Flight organization many years ago. And I'm glad that we did on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I know I certainly did back in the day in Birmingham. So the idea was to raise money. Honor Flight engaged in fundraising activities to raise enough money they would charter flights so that it was only World War II veterans and their caretakers on these flights. And they would obviously have chaperones. And they would take these individuals to Washington, D.C., get them in a hotel, take them around, show them various places, and obviously show them the World War II memorial. They would show them other things as well. So it was quite a wonderful organization that eventually the numbers dwindled because the number of people that served in World War II were dying on a regular basis. Most of them, I don't know how many World War II veterans we have left. But God bless them, each and every one. So, yes, so that's what Honor Flight was. That's what they did. And I don't know that there's much call or need for it any longer because all of those that are still around, even at this point, I guess, you would need to be mid-90s? Yeah, mid to late 90s. Even, 1945, let's say you were 18, so that would have put you born in 27. Yeah, you would need to be in your mid-90s, obviously, or your late 90s. So there, that's that. Lindsay's next up on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Lindsay, what's going on in your world?
Oh, it's pleasant in Pleasant Shade.
Well, that's
I have
nice.
learned to text you from my laptop.
Well,
And I just left
kudos.
one saying that you kind of threw me under the bus on Wednesday, Buster.
Uh-oh. Sounds like I'm in trouble.
You just might be a little bit.
Okay, what did I do, Lindsay?
I'd called in about Laura Logan, and you and your buddy sat there and had a pretty good laugh. I think you were implying that I was a conspiracy theorist when I was just asking what her opinion was. I hope it was an accident, but everybody was talking about this, that, and the other. But you said to use my own brain and that I was basically a rubbernecker with...
Well, I don't know that I called you. I would never call you a rubbernecker, Lindsay. I don't know that I said that. I need to check the
that
tape.
Was the next day, and I took it personal. You called us a whole lot of us rubberneckers.
No, well, look, I'm not suggesting that we... here's what I don't understand about the cargo ship thing. Who said the investigation's over?
Very true.
Right.
And
I heard a little bit of Chris today, not a lot. And I'm not suggesting that any of these aren't valuable and important questions. I know that they said in the immediate aftermath of what looked to be an accident that it wasn't terrorism. And I think a lot of people are suggesting that because of the speed of them coming out and saying that it wasn't terrorism, that they are suggesting that it was accidental, and that's the end of the story. And I don't think that's what's happening. I believe that when they came out and said, hey, this is not terrorism, they meant terrorism in the most convenient and obvious definition, meaning that there were not people on the boat that took over the boat and intentionally drove the boat into a pier, similar in the way that individuals on September 11th took over aircraft and flew aircraft into buildings. I think that's what they meant with regard to, quote unquote, terrorism, that there were not physical people that took over the boat to drive it into the bridge. Now, I think that there are very valuable questions that need to be answered, Lindsay, but I think the investigation is ongoing regarding these questions. What created the power loss, right? I mean, that's the most obvious and the most important question. And why was it that the power loss was such that they could not revert the ship? I think some of what Laura Logan has suggested has some of us scratching our heads. She claims to have sources within the military apparatus that I don't know how anyone could automatically tell you that they definitively know that it was cyber terrorism 6 hours after it happened, just like I don't think that anyone could conveniently 6 hours after it happened suggest to you that they're 100% that it was an accident. I just don't think we know right now.
If it was, where is her proof?
Well, she doesn't have, I mean, she says she has sources. I don't know that she has any proof, but what my concern was yesterday, more than anything, and I was not reflecting specifically on you, Lindsay, because I wouldn't put words in your mouth.
Well, I'll get off your back because you're my favorite host.
Oh, well, you're very sweet. No, but here's the thing. What I don't like, and this is more broadly talking about conspiracy theories and not the cargo ship deal, is that, there are some that immediately jumped beyond the consideration that it was an accident. And they are as convinced as anything that it was not. And so when I suggest that it being an accident is still on the table, they come down on me. Like, well, but that's not doing your due diligence and trying to get to the truth. If you've already decided in your head that it was not an accident and you just know in your heart and in your mind that it's not an accident, I don't think you're keeping your mind open to what the possibilities are. Just like I'm keeping my mind open to the possibility that it was an intentional sort of cyber attack or a hack on the computer's electronic systems that led to the engine failure or the engine shutdown, the power shutdown.
But I appreciate your time. And one last thing, I heard you were against the Moms Club in the Chris Hand show. Oh,
yes. This, what did he call it? The Red Pill Moms Club? Yes. I'm against all clubs. Lindsay, I've left you speechless, I believe.
Yeah. All right. I didn't know if you had anything specific against them because they were just joshing around.
I'm against all clubs. I'm against country clubs. I'm against club sandwiches. I'm against any club that would have me as a member. I'm against any club that would not have me as a member. I'm against club soda. I think you should do it straight. I'm against any sort of players club. What other clubs? I'm against large wood-based weapons that would hit you over the head. I'm against those. Captain Caveman had a club. I'm against him. He had a little club that would open up and it had a smaller little Captain Caveman inside of it, and that would have a club in his hand too. I'm against that too. So what I'm saying is, as 4209 has eloquently put it, Trevor, I've already mentioned club sandwiches. Out, buddy. Nope. I'm against it all. Against all clubs. I used to say I'm against any club that would have me as a member. I think that's still on my Twitter bio, as was famously put by Groucho Marx, that I wouldn't belong to any club that would have me as a member. I don't really care. You know what? 67-66. Dallas says Billy, out. Golf clubs, I hate them. I strip clubs, no thank you. Poker club, Sam's Club, see ya.
You go to Costco?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
No, I mean, do you use Costco instead of Sam's Club?
We actually have, I think, members. We are now officially members of every damn club that there is. Like
So
that.
you're a hypocrite.
No. My wife is the boss.
She makes me.
She makes me. I every time we walk in there, I make it really clear that I'm doing this under protest.
Yank that leash, Erica.
That's right. And I yell loudly while I'm in the store. All of you people are sheep, I say. Also, my goodness, these blue jeans are cheap, I say. How can they sell these mushrooms so inexpensively? Sheeple.
I never knew I needed this much mayo.
I hate all of you. Now put it in my buggy and ring me up. Chemtrail. Can we not? You know what? We're going to start back with Conspiracy Theory Monday. I think we need that in our lives. Not this Monday because the governor is coming on, and I don't want him to be a part of that. Speaking of that, the governor is coming on Monday. I hope, I'm crossing my fingers, that we will have him in studio. One way or the other, we'll have him on. No fooling. Monday is April Fool's Day, April 1. But we will have the governor of the great state of Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee, either in studio or on the phone with us to discuss not only the scholarship education scholarship plan that is before the General Assembly, but a number of other issues. Very excited about that. That happens at 2:05. It's 12:49. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. James Comer wants Joe Biden to testify before the House of Representatives. I am not holding my breath for this to happen, but he has some pretty good questions for old crazy sloppy Joe. More on that coming up in the next hour of the show, plus Jay St. Clair and Fry Jay on the show. It is 12:56. Good afternoon. Welcome back. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Gary's turn next in Smyrna. Hey, Gary, how are you?
Hey, good to talk with you, Matt.
Of
I
course.
would like to bestow some kudos on you. I believe, in my opinion, you're the number one talk show host in the country. Mainly because of the way the stories that you present, and you hold our elected officials accountable. You pull no punches, friends or no friends. Especially refer to the interview you did with Scott Desjardins 3 or 4 weeks ago, and this past weekend when you did one with I believe it was a state rep.
Yeah,
Todd
Warner.
Call and,
Todd Warner. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, you try to get to the truth no matter what, and I just want the listening audience to know that I think you are the number one radio show in the country. So I'll leave it go at that. Oh, yeah, I forgot my question. President Biden and with his executive orders, how does an executive order work when they have sanctions against Iran, and he just sends a note over to Congress that he is setting aside those sanctions and giving them $6 billion. And I don't know whether he did it in cash, but that's what the Iranians asked for. So I'll let it go at that and listen for your answer.
Well,
Thank you.
Gary, thank you so much for the telephone call. Thank you for the kind words. I don't deserve them. I appreciate them, and I have learned over the years to accept a compliment when given and say thank you so much for it. But I do not believe that I deserve that level of praise. But I thank you for that. Well, you're very kind, too. Bell is paid to say that. Gary is not. That's the big difference there.
No, I'm not.
Well, yeah, you have to be not. What's going on there? Somebody texted you? Amanda's telling you to shame me? Work on my big head? That's what's probably happening in there. I see that.
No, that's actually Scott Sapicki. Matt, can your head get any bigger?
Is that real?
Yes.
That's funny. Sapicki. Matt, can your head get any bigger? By the way, was that caller your uncle? That was not. That caller's not my uncle. I know I don't have an uncle. Might have been my brother. I'm not really sure, but certainly not my uncle. In response to the question asked about Iran, it is a sad state of affairs. The manner in which the Biden administration has treated Iran has led to their ability to further the funding of state terrorism that exists in that country through their proxy organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. One could make a case that Joe Biden allowing them to reclaim their assets from Qatar and other places gave them the ability, freed up the ability to continue funding Hamas to the point that they were able to attack Israel. So one could create a direct line between Joe Biden and the death of the Israeli people. If one wanted to, and I want to. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy here for Members Nutrition. We talk about Members Nutrition often in reference to the super text line, but let's talk about what they do on the regular, on a day-to-day basis. Members Nutrition can help assist you find the right vitamins and supplements for you, for your family, for less money than you pay at the box stores, or at any store for that matter, because they don't have to pay the light bill. They don't have to pay for the brick and mortar. They are online only. Members Nutrition is quality. I know this because I take Members Nutrition supplements and vitamins every single morning. I buy from Members Nutrition. I appreciate Members Nutrition. I'm not just an endorser. I'm also a client and love what they do. And right now, you can get every single vitamin or supplement, whether it's the Daily Cleanse, men's health, women's health. They have energy supplements. They have relaxation supplements. I mean, they have a wide variety of different supplements for you available online. And when you check out, you'll get an additional 50% off as a way to introduce themselves to Middle Tennessee and to the Super Talk listening family. What a deal. I mean, already the prices are lower than the box stores, and now they're 50% off too. Incredible. Go to membersnutrition.com like I did, membersnutrition.com, and we thank them for being fine sponsors of the Super Text line, and we thank them for being made right here in the good old USA. It's Members Nutrition. Here we are. Here we go. It is 1:05, and a good afternoon to you, Matt Murphy, and the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We continue this Friday edition. It is Good Friday. What a gorgeous day it is outside, March 29. I mean, beautiful. Could not ask for a more Chamber of Commerce type day, with highs reaching around 72 or so degrees, getting up into possibly 80 degrees over the course of the weekend. Man, oh man. Absolutely gorgeous. Spring has truly sprung in Middle Tennessee, and I appreciate you being a part of the Murphy Show family and Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Become a participating member by dialing up 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. You can also join us on the Members Nutrition Super Text line if you so desire. Always appreciate you guys over there. Thank you so much for your participation. Alan says it might be worth mentioning that today is day 141 of Americans being held captive by Palestinian terrorists in Gaza, and we still do nothing to secure their release or recover their remains. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Alan. It is shameful that there are broad swaths of the United States of America that don't even know that there are still hostages being held captive because the mainstream media won't cover it because it looks bad for Joe Biden.
I think he's trying to break Carter's record.
Maybe. I mean, how disgusting is it that the United States of America has captives in Israel? That our American citizens are still there. We think that there's like 4 or 5 of them, I believe, and there are the remains of others. And yet at the United Nations earlier this week, there was a vote by the Security Council to demand an Israel ceasefire. And the United States of America, one would assume at the request or demand of Joe Biden, abstained from that vote. A no vote on the Security Council would negate the resolution. The resolution means nothing. But I do think it's shameful and very dangerous that the United States of America has announced that when the chips are down in an election year, the President of the United States has decided that we're not going to have our greatest ally in the Middle East, we're not going to have their back. And even more to the point, and to Alan's point, not just that we will not have their back, but we have forgotten that there are Americans still over there. Here's how you achieve a ceasefire, Hamas. You give up the rest of the hostages and you give up. You give up the rest of the hostages and you wave the white flag and surrender. And you will achieve your ceasefire. Hamas started this. Hamas can stop this. Israel protects itself, and Israel is determined to defend itself so as to see its continued existence. Period. It's 1:09. It is Friday. No, wait, it's Friday. On Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's not morning, but that's okay. Paul Harvey doesn't know that.
I've been trying to get that fixed, but
I know. I'm working on it. He's in North Carolina this weekend. He said he'll be back on Monday. I said they don't have microphones in North Carolina. We're talking about the guy that does the Paul Harvey impersonation.
oh, I thought that was Paul Harvey.
Well, that's what you get for thinking, as my grandma used to say. Hey, Jay St. Clair is with us, and as I like to say to Jay as we begin these Friday conversations, Jay, how you doing, buddy?
Matt, if I were any better, it would be next Saturday.
What's going on next Saturday, Jay?
I will be driving race cars at Daytona International Speedway.
See, I was right away going to criticize you for the way you asked the question. It should have been, which track are you going to be at, Jay?
No. I just want to give him a broad, much like the rest of the drivers on the race course, I want to give him a wide berth to drive right through there. I'm excited for you. Tell everybody what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's an endurance race, right? These have been around a long time. The 24 hours of Le Mans, right, is probably the most famous one. And they have 24 hours at Daytona. Well, this is going to be 14 hours at Daytona. But at Le Mans, they drive $1 million race cars.
Uh-huh.
We will be driving Mazda Miatas, which are a little bit less than $1 million.
I love Miatas.
Oh, they're fun little cars, and they're great little race cars. And, so 14 hours in a Mazda Miata. I won't drive 14 hours. The maximum that you can drive in one stint is 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 4 people. We have 2 cars and 4 people on each team. So we'll have a total of 8 drivers. And I'm just and there's 100 cars entered, Matt. There's going to be 100 cars, or maybe a little bit more than that, on the racetrack at one time.
So, do you think? Have you guys talked about the strategy? I mean, you'll go the full 2 hours during your time behind the wheel.
That's the goal, because you're trying to minimize the number of pit stops, and 2 hours is about our fuel window. So if everything goes as planned, each driver will, stay in right around 2 hours, depending on how many cautions come out in terms of fuel mileage. You don't want to run out of gas, but you don't want to have to pit more than you have to. So, yeah, that's the way. One of the cars doesn't get quite as good at gas mileage. It's got a bigger engine in it.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. We've modified the Miatas?
The other one is, and so it actually cannot run for a class trophy because it's illegal.
But you're just like throwing it out there because why not?
Oh yeah, well, we got the car, and actually it's very smart. It's David Neal's the guy that's got the cars, and he said, I'm going to take 2 cars in case one of them blows up. Then we can all 8 of us can take turns driving the other one, which is really smart.
Well, I hate the fact, originally the plan was to be there, and I hate the fact that I'm not going to be there. I already have listeners, like Dallas has written in and says, on the Members Nutrition Super Text line, I have a question for Jay. And, we love these audience questions, Jay. His question is, does Jay need help in the pits or have an extra pit pass?
Well, it's open to the public, I have learned, and so we don't need to actually work the pits. It's real tightly controlled. You have to be a member of Champ Car, and you got to go through. You can pay a fee, registration, comply with all the safety stuff. But it's open to the public for spectating, and it's actually going to be live streamed. And I'll send out a tweet, a day or 2 before the race, giving the web live stream.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
So
Wendy, you have a critic, though, Jay. Wendy says, I can't think of anything more boring than an all-day Mazda Miata race. Well, Wendy,
Wendy, you got to get behind the wheel. It may be boring to watch, but it ain't boring in the wheel, in the race car.
What is those Miatas 4-speed?
I think his is a 5. I've never
Or
driven
5-speed,
car
I guess.
yet.
Right? Yeah, that makes sense.
I've never driven a car.
Have you never driven a Miata?
No, not in real life. But they have iRacing has the road course track for Daytona, and they have a Miata. So I've been turning hot laps.
You've been practicing on the iRacing, Rick. Good for you. Good for you. So will you guys get a chance to get on the track beforehand, or do you just go out and it's
no practice? No practice. First time I'll be in the car will be under green flag conditions.
Huh?
Yep. It's just I think they didn't rent it. I'm sure. Practice. So you just show up and race.
Well, I absolutely love it. I look forward to hearing all about it. I look forward to watching it if we have the ability. Please text that out or tweet that out or whatnot and let me know because I look forward to seeing you behind the wheel of a race car, and I look forward to seeing you the following weekend with our real estate development seminar that we have going on.
Oh, I'll tell you all about it. Yeah, no, I'm going to have two really good back-to-back weekends, man.
Jay, I had a question for you. I don't know if you saw my text to you earlier today.
I did.
So I want to set this up and make sure that those who perhaps were not listening to the show are caught up with what we're talking about, because I think we've got a very interesting topic of conversation, and that is what is legal and not legal with regard to recording conversations in the state of Tennessee. So this all started when a man by the name of Phil Williams, who is a reporter from News Channel 5 in Nashville, Tennessee, announced that he's an investigative reporter, and he announced he has this huge bombshell report that's coming out Monday at 6 o'clock. Bombshell report. Everybody needs to be watching. And so, as people often do, because he's broken a number of stories over the years in Nashville about the General Assembly and other matters, everyone tunes in. And his bombshell report was about this secret recording that was made between a lobbyist and a lawmaker by the name of Representative Todd Warner. Todd Warner is a Republican from Chapel Hill. The lobbyist is the executive director of Americans for Prosperity Tennessee, a woman by the name of Tori Venable, whom I had on Tuesday to answer some of the allegations made in the bombshell report by Phil Williams. And his bombshell report turned out to be Tori Venable talking to Todd Warner, encouraging him to vote in favor of a school choice piece of legislation that her organization is behind, and telling him if he doesn't, they're going to campaign against him. And if he doesn't, they're going to support somebody else in his district. This was the nature of the report, Jay. That was it. That believe it or not, a lobbyist told a lawmaker if they didn't vote the way they wanted them to, that they were going to fight against them in the next election cycle. That was it. That was the whole deal. So it was a big, huge nothing burger. I think we lost Jay there for a second, but I think we got him back.
Yeah, the call dropped.
Yeah, it was a huge nothing burger for those who aren't familiar with the story. So, Jay, I don't know how much of that you caught, but I'm just catching everybody up. So this entire story was about a lobbyist having the audacity to tell a lawmaker, hey, you need to support this bill or we're going to be against you in the next election. That was it. Something that lobbyists do every day.
Was lobbying?
A lobbyist was lobbying, Jay. Imagine that.
That's shocking.
So I was having a follow-up conversation with Tori Venable, the executive director of Americans for Prosperity, and she said, yeah, that's me on the tape, and yeah, I said all of that, and yeah, I stand by it. I mean, that's what we do. Well, in the midst of that, Representative Todd Warner called the radio show and wanted to talk to me. And I asked him who recorded this conversation. And he said, well, it wasn't me. And I said, well, who did? And I don't know. And I said, well, what do you mean you don't know? And we went round and round, and he would never tell me the nature of how the recording happened. And I said, well, look, if you don't know that the recording is happening and Tori didn't know the recording is happening, well, then something happened that was illegal.
Right.
And so I asked Jay to do a little bit of sleuthing and to correct me if I am wrong on any of this regarding the law in the state of Tennessee, because here's the deal. if neither of them were familiar with or had authorized the recording to occur, and both of them deny that that happened, then it could be that that was an illegal recording, I believe. Jay, what have you learned?
Is it just the two? Well, here's the law. A person to a conversation. So Tennessee is a one consent party state. So if one person in a conversation consents to it being recorded, then they can do it, regardless of how many other people are in the conversation. It does not require both parties to consent. Was this a one-on-one conversation, or might there have been other people standing around?
The individual, the representative Todd Warner, told me earlier in the week that he thought that there were a few other people in the room, but he would not or could not tell me who those people were.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think he's being a little intentionally fuzzy, because originally I thought I had nailed down that this was an illegal recording, but I think he was just squishy enough, Jay, that he squished him, because he says he didn't record it. But I said, well, were you by yourself? Where was this? He said, I think it was at my house. I said, well, was there anybody there? There may have been some people in the room. Well, who was it? Well, I don't remember.
All right, so here's the law. One cannot leave a recording device in a room and then walk out of the room and have the device record conversations that people happen to have in that room. That is absolutely illegal anywhere in the United States. That's illegal under federal law. One can, in Tennessee, it's absolutely legal for one to record a telephone conversation in Tennessee without telling the other party. There's no question about that.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely legal in Tennessee. Let's say there's two people in a room, and one of them is secretly recording that conversation. Absolutely legal. There's no question about that. Here, so let's say that there is a room with three people, and two people are over in one corner having a conversation. And then the third person is within earshot. They're not actually speaking, either one of the people, but they're nearby, close enough to record it. I believe that's legal.
That is legal.
I think that is legal.
Even if the two people within the conversation don't know that the third person in the room is recording them?
I've never really thought about that. It's the first time I've ever thought about that, man. But I think that that's probably legal. And I'm looking. I want to find the exact statutory language.
Because I believe, in my reading of it, and Jay, I'm going to defer to you and your understanding of the law. You know I do, but what constitutes being a party to the call?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Or here it's not a call, right? It's a face-to-face conversation. No.
Well, in this particular circumstance that are you talking about your scenario or the Warner people? Because the Warner Venable thing,
the real life event, right?
The real life event was a telephone call that was recorded.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
And the guy, but see, here's the thing. I think somebody's fudging the truth, because the Todd Warner, the representative, Tori Venable denies any knowledge of it being recorded. And I don't think there's any question that she's telling the truth there. She did not know the call was being recorded. Todd Warner denies knowledge that the call was being recorded too.
So this is a telephone call?
Yes.
Only between those two people?
Correct.
If anybody else recorded that telephone call, they broke the law. Now, if one person is in a room with one of the people on the call and records half that conversation, I think that's legal. Am I making sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
See, what I think happened, and we enter the arena of speculation. Hold on just a second, Jay. I've got to do this real quick. Jay St. Clair and I are noodling this out because I'm trying to help Phil Williams out here. Today, I'm trying to be a friend to Phil Williams because I am worried that Phil Williams broke the law in airing an illegally recorded, or at least broke policy for NBC or for News Channel 5 in airing an illegally recorded conversation. Now, what I think happened and what they're saying happened, I think are two different things, and we'll get to the bottom of that. either my assessment of this is either Todd Warner, the representative, is lying about his knowledge of the recording of that telephone conversation, or it was an illegally recorded telephone conversation. But I lean on the first half and not the back half. 615-737-9986. If you have any questions for Jay St. Clair, get them in right now. It's 124 on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's Matt Murphy. It's you. It's Jay St. Clair. It's Friday, everybody. Get your questions in here in a couple of minutes. We'll get to them. 615-737-9986. That's the Members Nutrition Super Text line. 615-737-9986. So, Tory Venable was on a cell phone. Todd Warner, I think he said during the course of the conversation that his end of the call, and this is how I think they squirt through, Jay, without presuming that I know what you're about to say. I need to include this as an informational fact, that I believe he said that he was on speakerphone. But he said that he didn't know the call was being recorded. He also indicated that there may have been other people in the room. So does it being on? So see, it gets a little convoluted and frankly kind of tricky.
No, well, I'll tell you, if I were the judge, here's the law. A person that is a party to a phone call, a party to the communication. I've got the statute right here in front of me. And here the communication is a phone call. They can record that conversation. Someone who's on the phone call, a party to the communication. Someone who is not a party to the communication, it's illegal for them to record the phone call. If I were the judge, I would hold that if somebody is they're on speakerphone, but they're not a party to the conversation, I don't think they can record that call, man. But now I don't know if there's any precedent on that. I'm just giving you my best judgment as practicing law for 40 years. I don't think that's the intent of the law.
What I think, and this is pure speculation on my part, and I think they're being real cute. I think that Todd Warner is being cute with the law and being cute with what he knows about the nature of that recording. I think he knows that the recording happened, and if he knew the recordings happened, that gets them out of any legal issue.
Yeah, and I'm looking here further. If Todd is he the one that had the recording,
or well, no, he said it. He says he didn't record it.
Yeah, but someone in his room with him might have.
Right.
Well, here's what the law says. You and I are having a conversation, and you're on speakerphone, and then you turn to somebody in the room and say, hey, Bell, record this call.
Mm-hmm.
That's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Because a party to the conversation has given a third party the right to record it. That's legal. It's right here in the statute. I'm reading it.
So his and his denial to some jerk talk show host on the radio, notwithstanding, if he were in front of a court and he said, "Yeah, I knew that it was being recorded," then that absolves them.
And he's saying, "I didn't know. I did not give anybody consent to record."
Well, he would never say that. That's when the politician came out.
Well,
and he said he didn't record it. He didn't know it was being recorded. And I said, well, did you give anybody permission to do it if they wanted to? And he wouldn't tell me.
Well, then that's what happened, and that's legal. If he gives somebody permission to record it and they record it, that's legal. And the fact that he will not admit that that's what he did means that's what he did. One of the things I learned, Bill, if you're going to try jury cases in the South, you got to be able to quote some scripture.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Right, I don't have a lot of scripture memorized, but I got this one memorized. The wicked flee even when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. It's Proverbs 28:1. I use that a lot in my practice. Man, this gentleman is not being bold as a lion.
No.
He's fleeing even when no one is chasing him.
Well, and the point that I made at the beginning is, why does this dude, because we kind of got into it about it, because I could tell I felt like he was lying to me. And I'm like, why not just say, yeah, I knew it was being recorded. People misquote me all the time, Matt, so I'm going to make sure that they don't do that anymore.
Right.
I mean, that would have been being as bold as a lion.
You have the wisdom.
Well, no, I know people that do, namely you. All right, Jay's with us. He's going to answer some of your questions in just a moment. 615-737-9986. Here's the bottom line on the Todd Warner deal. Todd Warner and Phil Williams, this is my assessment of what happened, okay? Todd Warner and Phil Williams got together. Todd Warner did not like the way that Tory was talking to him, and Phil wanted a scoop. I believe that Phil Williams was the one that recorded that telephone conversation. I believe that. And if Phil wants to deny it, he's welcome to deny it. I believe that Phil Williams was in that room. I believe that Phil Williams helped Todd Warner set all of this up for the purpose of stinging the Americans for Prosperity group. I think Phil Williams wanted Tori Venable to say a lot more than she said. I think Phil Williams wanted her to start really threatening people, but she never did. but Phil was already halfway into this story, and he went ahead and finished it anyway. That's exactly what I think happened. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy, Tennessee Men's Clinic wants to see you. Guys, fellas, are you feeling run down, low down, sluggish? Do you not have the energy that you used to have? Well, maybe it's time to jump on over to Tennessee Men's Clinic. They have 2 locations to serve you. One's in Midtown, been there for over 10 years now, since 2014. The other opened last year in Cool Springs for you folks south of Nashville. We want you to get there. We want you to get back to an energetic lifestyle. Gentlemen, if you've lost energy over the years, if you don't know why, let's find out, and let's solve this problem. You know what the biggest complaint after getting together with Tennessee Men's Clinic the men have? The biggest complaint is, I wish I would have done this years and years ago. Well, let's not wait any longer. If you're losing that energy, if you don't know why, maybe it's T levels, maybe it's something else. Let's find out together. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. That's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or 615-208-9090. 208-9090. Tennessee Men's Clinic. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you have any questions for Jay St. Clair, get them in here, 138. It is the middle of Friday on Super Talk. Members Nutrition Super Text Line, the easiest way to get your questions in, although you may call in if you so desire, 615-737-9986. We give those numbers often and as quickly as possible to keep you on your toes. 615 737-WWTN. Jay, a lot of questions already coming in, a lot of concern about this this situation. It's a little bit tricky, but I just want to recap. So if you and I are having a telephone conversation in the state of Tennessee, if one of us know that the conversation's being recorded, we're all good.
Well, if we're the one recording it, right.
Right.
Or we've given permission to someone to record it.
Right. Does it change in your mind? And I know I'm probably asking too much of you because there's probably a lot of nuance into the law, but just generally speaking, would it change the circumstances if I'm sitting on a park bench in a public park and I have my phone on speaker and somebody down the way from me starts recording because I'm just talking crazy about something or another? I'm talking about a bank robbery. Right. That probably changes the circumstance because I don't really have an expectation of privacy at that point, do I?
No, but that person has not been given permission to record that conversation. If I'm the judge, I say that's illegal.
Wow.
Because they're not recording just you, Matt. They're recording the person on the other end of the line. Now, if they're not on speaker, right, then I think they probably can record you. But what makes it different here is they're intercepting a conversation between two other people.
And they're not a party to the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Well, the bottom line, like I just said, is that I think maybe a politician is fudging a little bit about his knowledge. He claimed to me that he had no prior knowledge. I believe that he did. And I think if he had to put his hand on a Bible and swear to tell the truth, I think his story would change considerably with regard to his knowledge of the conversation to begin with. So that's just me. Jay, lots of questions coming in. Let's get to them. Let me see here. I gotta get over to my prep page. This one is I'm going to start. Normally, I like to hold these questions, but I'm going to start with my favorite question that's come in so far. Jay, you ready?
Yes, sir.
From 9999, that's just the last four digits. He writes, my girlfriend asked me to buy her a set of breasts. I told her I would buy one if she bought the other one. What recourse do I have if we break up to collect the money or to collect the implant?
This was your favorite one. This is actually, this comes up in the law quite a bit. A gift is a gift is a gift. I'll tell you where this comes up more frequently than medical procedures or engagement rings.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. But no, when you give somebody something, you give it. And you don't have any legal right to have it back. Now, I know that there happens to be a judge listening to this. And if he knows some nuance of the law that I don't, he might whisper it in my ear. But I feel quite certain about that. A gift is a gift is a gift. Now, if the person, well, let's say this, sir. Let's say that she never had any intention of marrying you. And she's doing this just to get a 50% off boob job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fraud.
Mm-hmm.
She has defrauded you. And if you could prove those facts, then that was a gift by mistake or gift by fraud. And in that circumstance, I think you could get, I wouldn't take the actual product. I'd take the money.
So, right, and to get it away from the 14-year-old nature of the question, let's say that, if a woman or a man said, hey, if you buy me this Lamborghini, we're getting married.
Yeah.
We are getting married.
Right.
And I never had any intention to get married. But I get my Lamborghini, and then I say, well, I don't like you anymore. I'm breaking up. If I can go to a court and I can prove those set of circumstances, I could potentially get recompensed for the Lambo.
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. Dallas writes in, and I'm sorry, this isn't Dallas. This was Lindsay that writes in and says, for Jay St. Clair, my dog recently bothered the neighbor's dog. We were warned that it's a misdemeanor to let one roam free. We tied up my dog while buying an invisible fence, yet she got out again. If I were to get rid of my dog, there's no pound, et cetera, in Smith County, blah, 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 blah. What am I supposed to do?
Well, you got to keep your dog up.
Yeah, that's right.
You're responsible for keeping your dog up. And if the listen, I've got an invisible fence with German Shepherd, and she's 99% of the time she'll stay inside, but there's that one squirrel that keeps flicking his tail at her and barking at her.
Gee, Olivia can't stand it.
No, she just says it's worth it. It ain't going to hurt that bad. And off she goes.
She busts through that thing.
Yeah, it's your responsibility to keep your dogs up. If the invisible fence won't do it, then you got to put them in the backyard or put up a chain link fence.
I think I've told you this story before. My best friend in the world, Wayne, we stood in his kitchen and watched his dog Kelly, which was like one of these Australian shepherds.
Yeah.
Wired dog.
Yeah.
And Wayne had an invisible fence, and Wayne had turned that sucker all the way up as far as it would go. I mean, and we held it in our hand to test it, and it hurt. I mean, it hurt. And we watched his dog build up, in the backyard, like knowing what. I mean, but the dog's name was Kelly, and Kelly just wanted to get out, and we watched Kelly build up the fortitude to bust through that invisible fence. Well, the problem is Kelly knows it's going to hurt just as bad coming back in as it does, and so Kelly's gone, never to return.
It's worth it once, but not twice.
Not twice, not to come back home. Jay, question for Jay St. Clair from Joe. Are there any criminal or civil repercussions that can be brought against some of these elected officials for their actions against Donald Trump?
I'd have to know specifically what you're talking about. So I'm going to answer that kind of more generally. I mean, if somebody's committed a crime, then they can be prosecuted. Or if they've committed a tort, they can be sued. But generally speaking, without knowing specific facts, the remedy for a politician who does something stupid is to vote them out of office. That's generally the remedy against governmental officials.
And I think, I don't want to assume.
Yeah, you can prosecute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to assume, but I think the nature of that question just goes to the ridiculous nature of some of these suits against Trump and the frustration that many listeners and many Americans have that they are engaged in what is now called lawfare against Donald Trump prior to the election.
Well, here's what I would say about that. It's extremely difficult to get a remedy for a criminal prosecution that should never have been brought. I mean, there's a window to do it, but boy, it's a very, very narrow window. Civil lawsuits, the standard's a little bit lower. If the case were truly frivolous, then once you win the case, then yes, you can get your attorney's fees. But it's still a pretty high bar, Matt. I mean, take, for example, this is the woman that's suing him saying that he sexually harassed her, 10 years ago. Well, she got a verdict. So even if that verdict is reversed on appeal, that makes it hard for him to say the lawsuit was frivolous and utterly without merit. So it's theoretically possible, but it's a very high bar. I get this question a lot, man. Clients get sued and they think the lawsuit's frivolous, and they say, well, we want to countersue. I want to countersue.
Mm-hmm.
And my advice is, listen, let's take it one lawsuit at a time. Let's win the lawsuit, and then we'll talk about whether to countersue. Because your goal is to get out of the courtroom. I don't think it helps you in the long run to try to keep going in the courtroom. But if you really feel that strongly about it, then we can do it. But for now, let's kill the nearest snake.
Jay, there are many variants branching off of the we're just going to call it the boob job case.
Yep.
Folks, I'm so sorry. 3348 says, could he potentially, if he paid for it, get visitation rights? I don't think.
Oh, now that is funny.
I don't think he could get visitation right.
That is funny.
Now, Kathy asks a more serious version of this question. What if he loaned her the money? I guess he has to prove that it was a loan.
Well, I mean, if it's a loan, she's got to pay back.
Right.
I mean, well, whether they go through the marriage or not. I mean, a loan's a loan.
But I would advise if you're loaning anyone money for that particular procedure, you might want to get that in writing.
Well, I just wouldn't do it. I mean, it's like I don't ever loan money to family members. Don't do it.
Just give them to them. Give them money. Don't loan them money.
Don't loan them. Because you're not going to get paid back. Chances are you're not going to get paid back, and then you're going to be upset about it. Just give them the money.
Mick writes in and says, why can ABC, I'm assuming that Mick means the Alcohol Beverage Control Board, bust you for selling alcohol to someone with an expired license when they are of age? Huh. I mean, Jay, this is just me talking. I'm learning from you, but, I mean, I would think that the law requires that the license be valid. Otherwise, I mean, look, I know about expired driver's license.
I was about to say, Matt, I think you're the expert on this subject.
Well, here's the thing is that I made the case that the expiration of that license in no way changes the fact that I had to have appropriate documentation to obtain it at the time, and it doesn't change my date of birth on the license. However,
that's right.
I mean, a lot of places, if you go into a bar or restaurant, they want to see your ID, and they see that the ID is expired, they're not going to take it.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to guess at this one, Matt, but here's my guess. It's an educated guess because the people that do this, they know what the law is. I bet you the law says a valid driver's license, not a driver's license. It says valid or current. I bet you some version of that concept is in the law, and the people who are governed by that law know that, and so that's why they can do that. Is they're just following the letter of the law. That is my educated guess about that.
All right. Finally, Jay, this last one from 0471. Can Jay please write the story of his life so I can listen to him read the audiobook version?
That is the kindest thing that anyone has said to me, and since Matt Murphy said I was his best friend.
Isn't that sweet?
That is a very kind thing to say, and I appreciate that.
Well, everybody loves that. Everybody loves that accent. Where's that accent from, Jay? L.A.?
No. Well, this is Sequatchie County, really. I mean, to me, it is. Yeah, well, lower East Tennessee, and then sometime in East Tennessee, North Alabama. But, boy, I hadn't got anything on that. What's that catfish woman's name? I've forgotten now. Did you ever hear her talk?
I did. I looked it up. Hannah, I think her name was, or something like
Hannah.
that. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Well, yeah, they certainly thought you had an accent up there in Yale. I said they certainly thought you had an accent.
Well, you saw where that guy stole our joke, didn't you?
Yes. You can't trust folks anymore. Jay, thank you for everything. I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. All right, bye. There's Jay St. Clair, everybody. We'll leave him on a high note. It's 1:52 on Super Talk. The Glock store is located just off of Elm Hill Pike on Air Lane Drive, and I encourage you, wherever you are listening right now, do what you need to do to get over to the Glock store. You'll be happy you did. If you're a gun enthusiast, if you love the Second Amendment and love everything about it, you're going to love the Glock store. If you're new and you don't understand how to operate guns, you've never held one in your life perhaps, and you think, you know what, in Joe Biden's America, it is time to get trained up. It is time to own a gun for personal self-defense. Go into the Glock store, talk to one of their friendly associates, tell them that Matt Murphy sent you, and tell them, I've never held a gun in my life, and I need to know what to do. And they're going to walk you through it. Now, wonderful thing, they have the Shoot 270 rooms. They have trainers. They can set you up with an appointment with one of their trainers at shoot270.com or right there in store. And they're going to walk you through the process. Even before you buy a gun, they will allow you to rent guns at their rental counter. So you can figure out which ones are best for you, and they can walk you through that process as well. Or if you're an experienced marksman, they can get you even better with their world-famous training at the Glock store. So it's glockstore.com or shoot270.com for the retail side or the training side of things, or better yet, like I say, Airlane Drive, just off of Elm Hill Pike. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Glock store.
It's 2 o'clock. I'm Mac Maury with your top stories, 71 degrees. And if you're able to go outside, you should. I wish I could. Got a weather forecast coming up just a couple minutes away. The hazardous work ahead for workers clearing the twisted metal and concrete that was Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. Dave Packer.
The work to reopen the Baltimore shipping channel, blocked by the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge, will be fraught with danger. The large sections of the bridge laying on the river floor are much heavier than the 1,000-ton capacity of the largest crane at the site. In order to hoist them out, divers will have to go underwater to cut the sections into lighter segments, all the while battling strong, fast-moving currents and low visibility. Clearing the debris could take months.
Right now in Tennessee, Channel 4 reports that United Cajun Navy has called off their search today for Sebastian Rogers after, quote, increasing security concerns. The UCN say they have received death threats online and in person. They say this is the first time they've dealt with threats during a search. It's a search the UCN says is not over yet. Rogers is 15 years old, has autism. He's been missing since February 26th. And when the solar eclipse happens a little over a week from now, there will be a new way for the blind to experience it. Sherry Preston explains.
Even though we can't see something, it doesn't mean that we can't experience something.
Min Ha with Perkins School for the Blind in Massachusetts is thrilled with a new device called Light Sound that actually translates changing light into sounds. Harvard astronomer Allison Bierla helped develop it.
There's a light sensor on the back, so essentially it's measuring the brightness of light as it changes during the eclipse.
When the sun is bright, there will be high flute notes. As the moon begins to cover it, it'll be a clarinet. Complete darkness will be a low clicking sound.
And that is the latest news. A weather forecast next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm proud to tell you that we have reached the final hour of the week for our portion of the broadcast day. But never you fear, Brian Wilson's on the way with the drive. He's got 3 to 7 covered for you. Mark Levin after that. It's live, it's local, it's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And it is time, ladies and germs, if there's one segment that people talk about more than any other, it's Friday with Jay St. Clair, obviously.
Going to say.
But if there's another segment that they talk about quite a bit, believe it or not, I know I'm as shocked as anybody. It's Cougar Chow. It's time for Friday Mac Attack. God, it's so loose.
Loose.
It just don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. I'm not gonna put up with that look.
The build up. For us to be left hanging.
And I know, because he's over there, he's doing something. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing anymore. I mean, I love him so much.
Right.
Why does he do this to hurt me? Why does he do this to hurt me?
I'm trying to turn a 27 into a 30. Sorry.
I'll redo it. I've told you I'll redo it.
You're fine.
See how he blames me?
Yeah.
It's almost finished anyway.
This is draft time.
It's draft time.
What?
Now, there's some debate about what's about to happen.
I know. Yeah.
And I want to try to pull the curtain back and get the audience involved in the debate on the Members Nutrition Super Text line.
Great minds think alike.
Because Mac Morey presented a segment idea. Now, this is Friday Mac Attack. This is not Friday Murph Attack. This is Friday Mac Attack. And we draft every Friday, and we draft different subjects. Here's the thing, though. I think I was ready to concede your position and your topic. But I think we've done it. I asked Belle, I said, I remember picking Foghorn Leghorn at one point.
Did we do it?
I think we've done this.
Wait a minute. Do you not keep a list of these?
Yeah, he keeps it's right beside his list of his Kansas City Chiefs gear that he's been wearing for the last.
I don't even decide what we're going to draft till 155. I think you're right.
Do you not keep a list?
I think you're right, actually.
I think we've done it.
I think you're right. Me and Mama Maury were having a discussion, and somehow Looney Tunes brought up. She was like, you guys should do that for Friday Mac Attack. And I was like, all right.
I think we've done
Your
it.
mother doesn't listen every week?
Yeah, I'm surprised because she does.
I mean, I'm a little bit. I mean, she's your biggest fan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Hannah.
It's not. No, it's not Hannah. I can count on one hand the minutes that she's listened to this station.
Jason, stop defending him. Jason says Belle's very busy. He's busy giving me a heart attack is what he's busy doing.
It's heartburn, not a heart attack.
All right, we're getting it. We're getting it now. After a slight delay from the Members Nutrition Super Text line, we're being told that we've done cartoon characters. Yeah. I don't think we did Looney Tunes specifically,
You're right.
but
we've done
cartoon
characters.
Yeah.
Yes.
So because I picked because I picked Foghorn Leghorn, and you guys trashed Animaniacs. You trashed the Animaniacs.
Oh, and he was picking some stuff that we didn't know.
It was weirdo, like Space Ghost from the Coast or some crap. Yeah.
I picked Popeyes.
All right, so we can go. You know what? Let anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. You want to do my idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's topical. We try to make it topical.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Belle, unless you have a better idea in the next, 12 seconds.
Yep.
We're going with my idea.
Favorite Cougars.
If I draft first, I'm going Maury. And then I'm going that cougar that killed the guy.
Not the Chow. The Cougars
yeah, that's true. You're the
Chow.
food.
Yeah.
That's true. That's stupid. All right, let's tell everybody what we're doing.
Well, you had the great idea. Again, topical Easter weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The best egg dishes.
The best way to eat eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, the Easter Bunny's coming around. Hopping down the bunny trail, hippity hoppity. Easter is on its way.
I'm already ready. 3 to 7. I'm gonna have that. Hippity
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity. Belle is brushing up his resume. Belle's like,
that's an ongoing process.
Belle has sincere producer regret. Okay, let's get a draft order. Let's get this thing done. Let's do this. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Belle, you ready? Are you busy doing something else in there?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go. All right, I'm first.
Yeah, wow. Be first.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Bell, let me guess for you. You always guess for me. Let me
Okay.
guess. 2.
Nope. It was another bird.
It was another gaming. Okay, that's fun. That's nice.
There's a pattern there.
Yeah.
Bell has a tell. He likes to throw the one finger salute out. He likes it too much. I don't think he can get off it. So that's good to
Now
know
we
for
know.
next week.
Yes.
He's got his tell. All right, I'm first. Bell second. McMurray is third. We are drafting today on Friday Mac Attack the best egg dishes. Okay, you know what? It's easy. It's delicious. If I see them on a table, I have to grab one. I don't care if the meal's being done right now or later. We're going deviled eggs, and we're just going deviled eggs. We're going to keep it simple. Deviled eggs, always delicious on your Easter Sunday dinner table, and delicious any time of the year. Deviled eggs.
It's a classic.
Yeah, classic. Bell?
Ugh, deviled eggs are trash.
What?
They're horrible. They're absolutely just gross.
Why would you say that?
Because they're gross, because they're trash.
Let's not make a matter of taste a matter of fact.
Oh,
What
no,
are we
it's a
doing?
matter of fact.
He's going to draft. I just want to see what he drafts now. That's what I'm excited about.
Bacon and eggs.
Okay, no. But we need to specify what are these scrambled eggs?
How
Are
are you?
these?
Yeah, how are you?
Scrambled eggs
So you're going scrambled eggs.
and bacon, yeah.
I don't care
No,
about
I
the
don't
bacon. We're
care.
not drafting bacon.
It's part of the dish.
I don't care about
It's
the bacon.
part of the dish.
You're not getting the
part
bacon.
of the dish.
No.
Would you
No.
yell at him for a minute so I don't
it's
have
not
to?
part of the dish. And
Thank you.
I'll show you why in my draft pick what is part of the dish. This is how you draft bacon, okay? You get the third pick in the first round. Bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Boom!
That's it.
That's a dish.
That's a dish. Bacon and eggs. You're not getting the bacon.
No, I mean, come on.
Oh. Elsie said eggs. Yeah, what do you mean?
Oh, that's a good one. 8110 has a good idea. I get the benefit of looking at the members' nutrition.
Yeah, you
super
do.
things. I know.
Bell does,
You can pull
too.
it up. Is it my turn?
Yes,
turn?
it is.
My turn? I'm going to go strawberry cake.
I was wondering if we were going to go this route.
Cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you make a cake without eggs?
I was
but
wondering if we were going to do this.
I've never heard of strawberry. I've heard of strawberry pie, but I've never heard of strawberry cake.
Oh, dude.
This is your
you're
thing.
Not living.
You had
strawberry cake's my thing.
You brought it for your birthday.
That's my jam.
It was really good.
I mean, it's really good. Strawberry
Did he
cake's
not?
really good.
Oh,
Erica makes a great strawberry cake.
He wasn't eating it, though.
Of course
yes,
not.
Yes.
Of course not. Bell, well, we could, more on that later. Bell, would you care to make another poor selection in the 2024 egg draft?
Eggs Benedict.
That's a good one, actually.
Great
Love
one.
me some
That's
hollandaise sauce.
That's a great selection.
one.
Don't tell me the hollandaise sauce isn't part
He
of the
always
dish.
starts talking about the thing that's not the egg.
I'll get hollandaise sauce is a part of the dish if you're having eggs Benedict.
Yes.
Because otherwise it'd just be a
But
poached egg, right?
Bacon and eggs are two
Yeah.
different.
No,
they're
they're
two
not.
separate
They are
things
part of the same
that you're
dish.
eating together,
No, you're
as opposed
incorrect,
to a
sir.
bacon egg cheese sandwich.
You
Yes.
are wrong.
And there's two people that understand the nature of how to play this game, and then there's you.
We've scouted. We've done our work. We've done our due diligence. Obviously, you have
I mean,
not.
we're working hard,
Yes, exactly.
and you're the Cleveland Browns, is what you are.
Give me. Oh gosh, it just. No, yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll do this. I'm gonna get an omelet.
Oh yeah, sure.
That's another classic.
Quality.
Yeah.
Classic.
Wait. What's in the omelet?
Well, that's up for my choosing, is it not?
Right.
I would think
what
so,
would,
yeah.
what would go
Yeah,
in
you
it?
can have any side you want in the omelet,
Exactly.
and nobody cares. Just like Bell can have all the damn bacon he wants with his eggs, as long as his eggs are scrambled, because that's what he
what we're
asked for in the
talking
draft.
about.
Now you can't have over easy eggs, Bell, because that's preparing the eggs differently. I'm kind of regretting doing strawberry cake because I'm thinking of all of the delicious egg varieties. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to go ahead and with my third selection in the 2024 Easter egg draft. Oh, gosh. I mean, you know what? I'm going to go huevos rancheros. Huevos
Wow.
Okay.
rancheros.
I know that's the thing, but I don't know what it consists of outside of the eggs.
It's It's a dish made with fried eggs and potatoes or hash browns. There's refried beans.
Well, is it all mixed
cheese
together, or is it?
Well, it's prepared as a dish, and you bake it in the oven.
Okay.
And
Usually some sauce on it.
Yeah,
or
there's
something.
there's like either a green or a red sauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's done on it. See, I know what Bell was doing there. He was trying to get me to admit that there's some separation on the ingredients. I know
that is not true. I literally did not. I've heard that name hundreds of times, and I didn't know what was in it.
It's delicious, and a lot of times with the way we roast rancheros, you'll get some sort of sausage or it's a type of sausage that I can never pronounce. The chorizo. There you go, chorizo. Mr. K, your third and final selection in the 2024 egg draft that you're obviously so engaged in. You're loving it, loving every bit of it.
I'm going to go with the Reese's peanut butter cup egg.
Oh gosh, that's actually.
Dang it!
I think it's good.
Yeah,
I think that's solid.
That's a pass.
I think
that's
a solid.
And he wins the draft in the third round.
Oh my lord! And the guy like, what are we doing over here? I'm choosing between Mexican eggs and hard-boiled eggs and pickled eggs over here, and old boy has got chocolate in his mouth.
Oh, that's good.
Damn it!
You're over there with your strawberry cake.
How does he pull that out? And bacon. Boom!
Look, I can always switch it to Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yeah, there it is. Exactly.
All right, final selection there, Mr. Morey.
I know, and I had one, and I kind of went away from it because I don't know if I like that. This is tough, and he really threw a curveball here.
3783 is saying that cake is not an egg dish. An egg dish is the star. That you know what? I think that's right. And
I think that's fair.
Somebody should have called me on this when I said strawberry cake. I'll just back up and say I'll back up and say boiled eggs. I mean, I'm happy.
Boiled eggs.
Yeah, delicious boiled egg.
Don't you have to boil deviled eggs to begin with?
Yeah,
You do. You do.
thinking.
Yeah, but then you take the yolk out, and then there's a preparation process. I agree.
See, this is the kind of the problem that I ran into because I was thinking about drafting fried rice right here.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
think
scrambled eggs.
I think one of our members, Nutrition Super Texters, I think they're right that for it to be, I think to qualify eggs have to be the star of the show.
So French toast is out because that was
I don't
also
know, that's a 50-50 almost.
I think egg is so vital. To that
you
show.
cannot have French toast without eggs.
Without the and you can't have cake without eggs, but it's just an ingredient. It's just in there. You don't really taste egg.
Yeah,
so
and you
I think
do taste-
mine's bad, but I think French toast works.
Then I'm going to go with French toast.
I think that counts.
I kind of went all breakfast here, but that's okay. I don't feel bad about
And
it.
I am so.
I did too because
I'm
I
so
eat
proud of
Reese's
all of
peanut
us.
butter cups for breakfast.
I'm so proud of all of us.
That's a good draft.
I'm proud of all of us for nobody said quiche, and I'm proud of that.
Wow.
Well, none of us are gay.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, Bill.
Yeah, I was about to say that's TBD.
You know, speak for yourself.
We're both very obviously not, but I don't know.
I mean,
Wow. Wow.
I'm just love you.
it was one time in college, right?
Come on, yeah.
That's a joke. That is a
Oh, yeah.
freaking joke for everybody involved. How many more of these you got in you? For those watching on Super Talk TV, we're at day 32.
Day 32.
Do you feel like you can get through April?
Halfway, at least. Maybe to.
You've intentionally not counted? Like you've not gone through it?
No, I haven't gone through
I
it.
would have a difficult time not doing that.
Yeah, part of me wants to, but
What are
I kind
you
of
doing
like the.
to prevent repeats?
I've got a Google Doc, and I had to look for it through it today because I was like, how have I not worn this shirt? Because this used to be a very regular on the rotation.
See, in my mind's eye, I envisioned you going home, taking off the article of clothing, throwing it in the bedroom corner, and telling Hannah to tolerate it until the bit's over.
Well, that happens with or without the bit, really, actually. Yeah.
Pile of Chiefs
Yeah,
clothes
exactly,
in the car. Some of the great responses that we're getting from the Super Text line regarding the 2024 Great Egg Draft on Friday Mac Attack. Deviled eggs made with Kraft sandwich spread. 8109 says, I don't know what this is in reference to, but he says $20 is $20. I think I do know what that is in reference to. Eggs Benedict is the cryptocurrency of eggs, says 8335. Egg and bacon pie is essentially a quiche, which would have been acceptable if that is what Belkay actually said. 1313 says moons over my hammy, which made me giggle so hard when I first saw that. I was going through Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, went to a Denny's and saw moons over my hammy, and I laughed.
That's great.
Egg salad is a good one. I like
egg salad's a good one. My mom texted sausage and egg casserole. That's a good one.
The eggs in the movie Alien, no, we're not. That's not what we're doing.
No.
That's not what we're doing. And 0397 says Bell just won the draft. So there you go. You got a fan, Bell.
Thank you.
There's the one.
That.
I mean, the
I
Reese's
don't get
egg
any
was-
support inside the room. Might as well
Cadbury's
get
egg.
some from the listeners.
And do you really like Cadbury's eggs?
Yes.
Do you?
No, not Cadbury. The Reese's.
The Reese's.
Wait a minute.
Reese's cups.
I'm talking about the Cadbury's eggs where you bite into it and there's goo inside.
No, those are way too sweet and icky.
No, I think that one counts. I don't think that the Reese's that's just a Reese cup shaped like an egg.
Like an
Yeah, I say
egg.
it passes.
Is that what? Is
Like
that what we're
a-
talking? I
that's
thought we
what
were
we're
talking about
talking
Cadbury eggs.
egg.
No.
Shaped like an
no,
egg. And it's got eggs in the mixture.
I'm filing a grievance with the commissioner.
You file the commissioner's out in
Did I agree to
Epstein's
that? Did
Island.
I agree to that?
You
Yes.
did. I thought we were both pretty enthusiastic about it. I thought you had heard it.
I thought we
Reese's
were
egg.
talking Cadbury's
Oh,
eggs.
no.
I heard. I mean, you
Stop.
probably said it, but I thought we were.
I totally
It's
said
an egg shape. It looks exactly like an egg. It's chocolate. It's got the gooey center with the white and the yellow.
No, I know exactly what you're talking
That
about.
one counts
That
to
one
me.
definitely.
That other. I mean,
He's so
I know.
upset.
I am.
He legitimately.
You guys stole strawberry cake from me, and I agreed that.
That's true. When we were litigating that, I didn't bring that up, and I'm like, well, I mean,
It's
the
true.
prominence in the dish no longer matters because he drafted chocolate.
I know. I'm disappointed in all of us now.
It was Tom Brady in the 6th round. That's what that Reese's egg was. It was good. It was a good pick.
All right. Whatever. Blind Sal finds an acorn every now and again, Kay. That's Friday Mac Attack on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Efficient Heating and Cooling and Jeff Eddy, I tell you, they know it is maintenance season, and they're all over our community, making sure that your AC is running as it should, making sure that before you're using it on a regular basis, that they've got it up to tip-top, to good working order and good condition. And they'll never charge you over $125 for a maintenance call from Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. That's their promise to you, no matter how many units you have on property. On a residential call, they're going to take care of them for that $125 price point, and oftentimes it's much less than that. Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, when things go wrong, they're there for you, and you can trust that they're going to do the right thing. They will solve it if they are able. Now, obviously, there will be a time when they tell you it's time to replace that unit. It's simply costing you too much money in repairs, costing you too much money from a lack of energy efficiency, or it's just a broken and time to go. It happens. And when that happens, they're a diamond contractor with Mitsubishi Electric and an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. Let's give them a call today and schedule that maintenance appointment, 615-784-4424, 615-784-4424, efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net.
An update on the Baltimore bridge collapse and how they are going to remove that wreckage, and a bizarre case in Louisiana. We take a closer look. 2:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
While I have Mac Morey on the line there, and thank you, Mac Morey, for that news tease. We're getting to that in about 3 or 4 minutes. I do have a sports-related question that came down this week that I was curious your thoughts on. You're our resident sports expert, and I know you do Mac Morey's Wide World of Sports during the drive with Brian Wilson on a daily basis. The Ohtani deal.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, explain what's going on with this superstar from the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't even know how to pronounce his first name, but I know it's Ohtani, right? So Ohtani.
Shohei.
Shohei, is that right?
Shohei.
All right, and okay, now I'll always remember because it's Shohei.
Yes, Shohei.
Shohei Ohtani. What? I mean, he is. He's a phenom. There's no question. He does both. He pitches and he bats. He's incredible at both. Tell me what's going on with him.
Yeah, I mean, you know more about the baseball history. I'd say that's fairly unprecedented, right? What he's doing from an on-field perspective, his pitching and hitting. I mean, it's truly incredible.
The last time that I can think of obviously, what we think about is Babe Ruth, and
that's
that
the
is,
one. Yeah.
Yeah. You think about Babe Ruth transitioning from a pitcher to being the greatest hitter of all time at the time, and this guy. I mean, because typically, if they're good at both, they pick one. Someone makes them pick one.
Yeah, you got to choose.
Either in college or because they feel like one's going to diminish the skills of the other or whatever. But he apparently has not had to do that as of yet. I don't know if he's planning on pitching for the Dodgers or not. I've not heard that.
He will not be able to pitch this year because of the surgery that he had to have at the end of last season. So
okay,
this season he will just be hitting. But he will continue pitching if he is able to keep playing, and now that's what you're talking about. So he's got a trainer, Ippei Mizuhara. I know his first name's Ippei Mizuhara, and this is his trainer, his interpreter, his best friend. Some people have talked about, asked questions when he was with the Angels if they lived together. I mean, this is like any other, interpreter relationship that they have in the MLB with athletes, which there are a bunch of. There are a bunch of guys who need an interpreter or a translator. This is his best friend. When you see Ohtani, you'd see him 4 steps behind, carrying his water bottle and carrying his backpack.
Okay.
And now it is Ippei has been accused of stealing $4.5 million from the Dodgers star because of a gambling debt to give it to a sports bookie, which is also illegal in the state of California. So now all the questions have arisen of basically, okay, well, how does $4.5 million get moved out of Ohtani's finances without him knowing? Does he just trust his best friend and his right-hand man so much that he's not even looking? Maybe he had access to the finances. Why is a bookie, fronting $4.5 million to a trainer / interpreter? There's a bunch of questions here.
What do you believe will be the result of this? Let's start there, because I don't know that any of us can possibly speculate on what really went down. They are claiming that Ohtani knew about none of this.
Yep.
That this dude just had some level of access to his cash and eventually owed this amount of money or stole this amount of money from Ohtani. I just have a difficult time believing that. I have a difficult time that any bookie would be making this level of bet without some assurance that he's going to get paid back that amount of money,
exactly,
being legal or illegal. And it does it not feel like this guy's taking the fall for Ohtani? That's what it feels like to me.
It does feel like that. Part of me, I see the good in people. Yeah, I try to do that. So I'm like, well, Shohei really is just a baseball player. That's why I had Ippei, because Ippei made his food. He did everything for him. So Shohei just showed up and played baseball. So maybe that extended to the finances, and Shohei trusted him so much, and that you do that. And listen, I play baseball, and I don't know, but yeah, it seems that's so much money, and these are multiple movements. Financial movements. I mean, as far as the money's concerned and the transfers are concerned. So yeah, this is it does seem like he maybe have taken the fall for Shohei, and then we'll see along the line he doesn't choose to press charges, and they.
Well, I mean, and I told you earlier this week.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
The tell for me will be when it comes time for Ohtani to press charges. Now, maybe he says, look, this guy made a huge mistake. He's my best friend in the world, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to see him go to jail. And he continues to insist that he did nothing wrong. I'll have a difficult time believing that. I also have a difficult time believing that this guy's going to take the fall from a criminal perspective and actually go to jail.
I agree. He's not, yeah. not going to go that far. I wouldn't imagine.
But I believe that you and I are on the same page that on the last thing Major League Baseball wants is for any of this to spill over onto Ohtani.
They need him. Yeah, he's the face of the league. He's two-time MVP. He was the biggest part of the $1 billion offseason that the Dodgers just had. This is the largest contract in MLB history. 10 years, $700 million.
Well, I'm an Atlanta Braves fan, McMorey, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you we need to prosecute Ohtani. I don't care if he did anything wrong or not. We need to get him off the field and keep him off the field for as long as humanly possible. That's what I say.
They'll play. They're playing. Are they? Yeah, they're bottom of the second right now against the Phillies. Their opening day was postponed yesterday because of the weather.
Oh, well, I certainly hope that they beat the Phillies because if there's one thing that I hate the Dodgers more than, it's the Philadelphia Phillies, especially over the last couple of years. All right, 2:31, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and time for McMorey's News.
.232 now. I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 72 degrees, sunny on Music Row. Got a forecast on the way in just a couple minutes. A giant crane to be used to remove the wreckage of the Baltimore Bridge collapse has a secret past. Dave Packer explains.
The Chesapeake 1000 crane, which is being deployed to hoist the wreckage of the Francis Scott Key Bridge out of the water, was built during the height of the Cold War for a secret operation. When in the 1970s, the CIA wanted to raise the wreckage of a sunken Soviet submarine in the Pacific, it needed to build a massive deep-sea drill ship platform, and in order to build that, they needed a big crane. Since then, the crane has come in useful for less clandestine jobs across the coastal U.S.
And over in Louisiana, a bizarre case. A woman pretending to be a new mother at a hospital in an alleged kidnapping scheme. Here's Derek Dennis.
21-year-old Dynasty Selman faces attempted kidnapping and unauthorized entry to a business charges after police say she worked her way into Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital in Baton Rouge multiple times, trying to claim another family's baby as her own. Investigators say she had a parent caregiver badge that was a fraud, was seen on restricted floors, and during one visit was believed to have brought her boyfriend to a patient's room, falsely claiming their baby was hers. Cops tracked Selman down in nearby Bossier City. The investigation is ongoing.
And that is the latest news. Got a weather forecast next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
I admit I was off my game during the big egg draft earlier today on the Matt Murphy Show on Friday Mac Attack. I was off my game because I was thinking constantly while we were discussing omelets and deviled eggs and boiled eggs and quiche and scrambled eggs. I was thinking about all of the delicious spices at Savory Spice that could go on top of each and every one of those egg dishes. Love it, love it, love it. Now, I love eggs, but I don't think I would love eggs if there was not a Savory Spice, because Savory Spice has so many different, like garlic salt or, oh my goodness, celery salt is pretty good on eggs. You put a little dill on top of your deviled eggs. Oh, so delicious. Savory Spice makes every food item better. They just do. Holly and David at Savory Spice, 2 locations to serve you. I mention this often. One is in Nashville off Charlotte Pike at L&L Market. The other's in Franklin, just off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. You walk in, you smell the smells, and they have just so many different types of spices, international flavors, national flavors, different types of salts from various parts of the world. So delicious, and they make food better. You know, when you get to a certain age, you don't want, bland. You want to up the food game a little bit. And I say you up the food game by upping your spice game. And you up your spice game at the one and only Savory Spice. Go by and see them this weekend, Savory Spice, in Franklin and in Nashville. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Moments from now, we'll check in with Brian Wilson, see what he's got going on the drive this afternoon. It's the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you for being with us. I appreciate all of you, whether you communicate directly via the phone lines, maybe indirectly through the Members Nutrition Super Text line, or email us. Find us on social media, always up and running at Matt Murphy Show, at Matt Murphy Show. And before I forget, I hope you have a wonderful and blessed Easter holiday. For those of you who are faithful, God bless you and your families, and I hope you have a wonderful time commemorating and celebrating the holiest of days, Easter Sunday. 615-737-9986. I promised I would pay this off. Last night, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I had a wonderful opportunity to meet a woman by the name of Ms. Gwyn. She was active duty for the Navy. She built navigation systems during World War II. She's 97 years of age. And our good buddy John Rich provided this video. It's about a minute long. This is John interview. Yes, Belle.
Is she the same lady that you met at the Charlie Daniels events?
That is not. That was Ms. Gladys.
And how old was Gladys?
Gladys was at the time 95.
But she was also served in World War II, correct?
She did.
Okay.
Yeah, she did. So yeah. So we've yes, but when I got a little in my head when I saw Ms. Gwyn last night, I was like, oh, and I went, no, that was Ms. Gladys. I did the same thing. I did exactly the same thing. So Ms. Gwyn is 97. She's a fireball at 97. Got more energy than I do at 50. And this is John Rich talking to her last night after the event had concluded.
My name is Gwendolyn Mosby, M-O-S-B.
A little difficult to hear.
97.
And what did you just say about America, what you're concerned about?
Well, it was World War II. At that time, I was a senior in high school. But I went to work for the Navy on North Island Naval Air Station, putting the instruments in the airplanes.
Wow. So were you active duty at that point? You were active duty?
Yes.
Wonderful.
But I wasn't a wave now.
Yeah, but you were doing a lot of work.
I was a civil service.
Right. Well, thank you for your service, and you're the greatest generation. That's why we call you all the greatest there ever was. It's an honor to meet you.
I worked on the little FM airplanes and put the instruments in the cockpit.
Man, that's important.
I know that it.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, and I know it's a little bit easier to hear John than it is to hear Ms. Gwyn. I know it's difficult to hear her. I apologize if you weren't able to understand her. I have posted this on my Twitter feed, my X Machine feed, at Matt Murphy Show. You can find it there. It's probably 2 or 3 down now. And you probably would be able to hear it a little bit better if you can see her speak. But she is just as cute as a button, vibrant and lively at the age of 97. And it was an honor to meet her last evening.
I got to ask, was she aware of who John was?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because he's certainly not of her generation in terms of music.
No. I think maybe she would have been more aware of if John's name was Charlie Daniels or
something from the 70s.
Right? But I don't know. But she was. Everyone that walked up to her, she had a smile on her face. And I'll tell you, if you want to know what my grandmother looked like before my grandmother died, look at Ms. Gwyn. And it's part of the reason that I have just such a soft spot in my heart because she reminds me a lot. Now, my grandmother did not make it at 97. She was much younger than that when she passed away in her 70s. But my goodness gracious, what a fine woman and what an incredible generation. I hate to end on a sad note, but it merits conversation and it merits further study. Obviously, the entire city has been aware, the entire state has been aware, and this story reached national headlines and even international headlines. I'm talking about the story of Riley Strain. By now, you know the backstory. Riley Strain, 22-year-old from the University of Missouri, came to Nashville with some fraternity brothers and never left. He was in a bad way, inebriated, or in some way incapacitated. We don't really know how that was until the toxicology report comes back. And I would have told you that this seemed to be an open and shut case, relatively speaking. We saw the video of Riley stumbling out of the bar. The bar said he only had one drink there. He broke their rules of conduct. They asked him to leave. The fraternity brothers, for whatever reason, stayed back. Some say they were paying bills. Others say that they stayed. One way or the other, Riley walks off. He stumbles. He, trips. He falls. He hits his head. He gets up. He keeps walking. He has a brief encounter with a police officer. The police officer was investigating a car break-in. You see on the body cam video, the police officer looking over at him. He says, "Hey, good evening, sir," or something along those lines. And the officer says, "Hey, how are you?" "Fine." That level of communication leads us to believe that he was not incapacitated enough to manage to, well, at very least, communicate in that moment. And it was last week that we discovered that Riley Strain was found in the Cumberland River, miles away from where it is believed that he fell in. Have you heard the latest on this, Bill? I'm curious where you and maybe even McMurray are on this.
I did not. Now, I wasn't aware that he had hit his head. Is that shown on video?
It was either what I saw, the video where he falls into the pole, it's either his head or his shoulder. I'm not really sure which. But after he hit it, he had that engagement with the police officer. So,
the only thing beyond that I've heard new was that he was found partially clothed.
This is concerning to me, and it leads me to believe, pure speculation on Matt Murphy's part, and I don't dare, I want to be, I find myself aware of the ongoing investigation and aware that there is a second autopsy that's been requested by the family, and I'm sensitive to that. But for those who've not heard, in the video you see him wearing jeans. And he's a pretty skinny guy, and these are pretty skinny jeans. He's got cowboy boots on. He's got a shirt on. The case remains open, and we already know that his debit card was found on the bank. Riley was fully clothed in the last security video the night that he disappeared. When he was pulled from the river 2 weeks later, Riley Strain did not have any pants on, did not have any boots on. From the waist down, he still had his shirt on, his black and white shirt on. It was a button-up shirt. From the waist down, he only had his boxer shorts on and his socks. Police confirmed when his body was found, he still had his shirt. He still had his Apple Watch on him. Dr. Bill Bass, the founder of the University of Tennessee's famous Body Farm and one of the foremost experts on body decomposition in the world, said it is unusual when you fall into a river. It is very difficult to get the pants off. Now, initially you think, well, is it possible that the river current could have done this? Well, if the river current if he got a snag, or if a tree or something or along those lines happened to snag him, one would think if the pants went off because of the river, that his socks would have gone too. But his socks were still on. Dr. Bass said, and this is from News Channel 5 and their reporting, it is possible that the boots and the pants could have come off through the current, but it is highly unlikely. No, they would not come off by themselves, Bass said. He said debris could have snagged the clothing, or he had another theory, and this is where a lot of our minds are starting to go. He said, I would say somebody took them off of him. If you do research on this, it would be very difficult because you've got to kill a person to take off their pants. It is difficult to get your pants off. It's difficult when you're alive to get your pants off. And it would be next to impossible for the river currents to get boots and to get pants, but not socks. Here's my theory. As sad as it is to say, is it possible that Riley Strain passed out and that he was found in that way? And that maybe somebody removed his pants and removed his boots because they wanted to rob him. They never found his wallet, obviously, because his wallet was in his pants. But his debit card was found near where he is believed to have either fallen in or was pushed in. Riley Strain's stepfather, Chris Whitehead, or Whited, who says that he didn't want to comment right now because they're still in the process of burying their child. He said that there were some things that they were going to share next week. Investigators are awaiting toxicology reports to try to figure out if they can determine what was in his body at the time of his disappearance. Well, I don't want to say I would have bet you because we're talking about a young man that lost his life, but I was convinced that we were discussing a horrible accident last week. I'm not so sure anymore because it does not make sense to me that he doesn't have any pants and he doesn't have any boots, but he's still got his underpants and he's still got his socks.
It almost makes me wonder, did he get jumped by a homeless person or something?
That's what or pass out in or around a homeless encampment. And at that time they decided, they could have decided we're just going to take his boots and his pants from him.
This is just weird.
It is. Here's what I don't believe, Bill. I don't believe that he fell in the river with his pants and his boots on and the river took his pants and his boots. I think something happened between the time he was last seen on video surveillance and the point that he fell or was pushed into the river.
Because isn't the area where his debit card was found, isn't that like a homeless encampment?
Yep. Let us hope that there are smarter people than you and I still working on this case, not assuming that it was a horrible, tragic accident. It's 2:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Friends, if you go online to membersnutrition.com, you'll see the incredible selection of nutritional supplements and vitamins that they have at Members Nutrition, and you're invited to be a part of the Members Nutrition family. They have vitamins and supplements at incredible, amazing prices. Members already save, but here's the deal, folks. You check out, you buy something from Members Nutrition, and you'll get an additional 50% off at the time of checkout. Stuff like the Youthful Cleanse with Daily Defense. It's so good. It cleanses the colon and the liver, helps restore health and balance, promotes weight management, supports intestinal regularity, and enhances your immune system. And that's just one of the many different items that they have at Members Nutrition. They got all kinds of categories: anti-aging. They have energy supplements, immune boosters, sports nutrition, relaxation supplements, men's health, women's health, weight management, and so much more at low, low prices. They sell lower than you find at the big box locations, and they are all of their products made right here in the good old USA. That's important to me. I want to know where something's being made that I put into my body, and these are made right here in USA. Go to membersnutrition.com, and remember, you get that 50% at discount. You don't have to put in any offer code. 50% off at checkout when you go to membersnutrition.com. That's membersnutrition.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of speculation as to whether or not Riley Strain might have also decided to swim for some reason, maybe because of his inebriation and whatnot, and took his boots and his pants off himself. Who knows? The investigation continues. Let's investigate what Brian Wilson is getting into this afternoon on The Drive with Brian Wilson. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm good, but the one thing that just bothers me about that, and I'm going to be doing that story a little bit later in the show as well, because it really is interesting what has emerged in the last few days. If you're going to go swimming, you would take your socks off.
You would take your socks off. I would think, and, maybe I'm wrong, but, he had the Apple Watch on, too. If you take the pant, it's just...
you don't jump in with your Apple Watch. That's right.
This aspect of the case, I would have, on a bet, told you, tragic accident, horrible for the family, but an accident nonetheless. But now I'm not so sure, Brian.
Well, and they say no signs of obvious foul play, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't foul play. It just means that they didn't find, like, for example, that he was hit on the head or there was blunt trauma of any kind. They just simply said they found the body. But until we learned this stuff about the pants, I would have agreed with you. I would have thought, well, it's closed. There's not much more to learn here. But now I think there's an awful lot to learn. And so we'll be looking at that. We're going to be on our show today. I'm also very concerned about just how mean the streets of Nashville seem to be getting.
Mm-hmm.
There is a story out here that just... I've got like 4 paragraphs on it, but the details just will curl your hair. How blatantly ugly things have gotten in some neighborhoods. We'll get into that right after the news, after the 3 o'clock news with Mac Maury.
We look forward to that. Brian Wilson with you until 7 o'clock tonight. Have a wonderful Easter, everyone. I hope you are able to celebrate. He has risen with family and friends. And we're back on Monday, April Fool's Day. And don't forget, Governor Bill Lee joining us on Monday in the 2 o'clock hour. Brian Wilson coming up next right after Mac Maury's newscast. That's right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.